What's going on, everyone? So today we are working on this very old Xbox, the one that we just got working. We're going to go through every single little step to water cool this thing. So firstly, we got it completely taken apart. I brought out a bunch of other fans and water cooling stuff because I'm testing what I'm going to use. Got the other system here that we were working on where this motherboard is just completely fried. So yeah, we're going to be scavenging some parts off that one. Plus, like I said, I have the parts to make two water-cooled 360 fats because I have two of these water blocks. And that's really the only way I want to water cool them is with this water block. It's just very efficient, very cool, hard to find. And by hard to find, I mean you can't find these anymore anywhere. So one of these will be for a project that will either be for another client or be sold. But either way, the other one is going to be for this system here, what it was originally designed for, and because this is the original Xenon or Zephyr, one of the two. One is HDMI, one isn't. This is the non-HDMI, whichever one this is. But this is the one of the very original 360s. They run way hotter than the Falcon or the Jasper systems. I mean, they get really hot. So we're going to be putting on the water block first. I am going to remove the one from this one first because I need the screws from it. I only have 4. They need 8. The 4 I have is actually for the slim water block, which is the same as this one. It's just cut in half right there. But obviously this one needs to go over the GPU and CPU, which are separate on the old system. So I'm going to clean this up. Now I just put this thermal paste on, so I'm not worried about getting it perfect. But step 1 is to clean this up, put new thermal paste, and put the 8 screws on here. We no longer use the X clamps. It's just 4 straight screws in, so you want to tighten them in a way very evenly so you don't bend the motherboard at all, but you still want it to be snug so it's not sliding around. So that's step 1. Let's put the water block on. Alright, water block is screwed in place. 8 screws, same spot that the original heat sinks are from. It's very tricky to tighten this one up because there's no like spacers or anything inside of here. I mean, I could put like washers or something, but you basically need to tighten these up, you know, just kind of go in a cross pattern, very slowly tightening and kind of loosening them so that they're all got the same amount of pressure all the way around. Now you want it to be tight to where it's not moving around, but if you tighten one a tiny bit too much, it'll just kind of bend the motherboard a little bit, so you just have to be real careful with that. Then we put on these little chipset. These aren't necessary, I just already have them, so I put them on there. Just a very small dab of thermal paste, and they stick on there. So, moving on to the next step, and that's to solder underneath this, where the power plug goes in, a 12 volt positive and a ground, and we're probably just going to connect a 3-pin or 4-pin connector to that. That's going to be for our pump. We want to draw that straight from here. We don't want to take that from the DVD drive or anything else. So that's step 2. Alright, so we've got a 3-pin connector here. I just cut it off of this splitter. It's a 4-pin to 2 3-pin splitter. Cut that off. So we're going to solder our red and black wire to the underside of where the power plugs in. So you can see pin number 4 here is 12 volts. Pin number 9 is negative, or ground. So we're just going to solder our red wire here, black wire here. Make sure that's nice and secure. And then this is just run through this little groove here like that. And we'll be able to access it on the other side. And then that'll be for our pump that we can have unplugged while we test other things, and then when we're ready to actually add fluid, you can plug it in. can also use this for whatever else. If there's an LED strip I want to plug in, or just put a splitter on this and plug other fans in or something. So, alright, we'll get that soldered in. Got those two wires soldered on there. So we have our 3-pin connector now, which is just a, 2-pin really. Positive 12 and ground, but that's all I need. I like to put a little strip of electrical tape over this just so that, because now this joint is a little bit taller, I don't want it to touch the metal frame there and short something out. Then I'll put our little pads back on here, set this back in the frame, and then I won't screw it in yet because now is when we need to look at what kind of layout we're going to do and what specific parts in terms of radiators, reservoir, pump. And once I have everything laid out where I think I want it, then we'll probably have to end up either cutting out the back of this metal frame or something else just to run a tube or something like that. So we won't screw it in just yet, but we'll lay it in there and see what we're going to do in terms of tubing and all that. Okay, your Xbox should now look like this. If you're following along with everything you have. So yeah, we got our water block in. And then while we're building, I'll probably throw some plugs in this just to keep dust or anything from getting in there. We've got our chipsets there, and then we've got our 3-pin connector. Just kind of wraps around here. And then in terms of wiring in general, I like to just kind of squeeze it between a couple capacitors just to kind of at least hold it in the direction I need it for now. So I'm going to set that aside. And then now we're going to put it's important to put our DVD drive in, just as a frame of reference, so that when I'm putting stuff back here and I go, oh, that's going to work, and then I put the DVD drive in and go, oh, it's actually not going to work. So we're going to set this in, just like that, so then we can see we've got all this room to work with, keeping in mind we need some sort of fittings on here, so there will be tubing here. But we've got all this area here and here, and I'm gonna go ahead and go through my reservoirs and whatnot and figure out what exactly I want to do for this one. Alright guys, so everything you've seen up till now was filmed quite a ways back, whenever I uploaded the video of getting those 2 Red Ring of Death Xboxes in one bundle for about $28 or whatever it was. But, as you know by now, I ended the last clip with saying I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. If you watched the last video of the updates on all the projects going on, I kind of explained what I was doing here. Triple 40 radiator. This will be the stealth build. Pump with the black acrylic top here. Black fan. This will be sticking out, but it's all black. And then we're going to hollow out a hard drive and have our reservoir sitting inside of it. And like I said, when everything is off, we're going to be using that black shell there. That's in great shape. Although I might still use this bottom ghost case piece, bottom half of the shell. It's already cut out there for the radiator in the back. And yeah, other than that, it still looks black when it's off. Plus, especially if it's laying down, you won't even notice it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's also meant to fit the HDMI or non-HDMI case. So that's cut out extra wide on the bottom there. So, next step here that we're going to finish this video off, because I have a little bit of time. Hopefully it's not as freaking cold outside, but we got to do some cutting to the metal frame here. Okay, so this is how this will sit. Obviously facing this way though. So I need to cut a section out of the fan grill in the back. Just a little like rectangle out here just so that these barbs will stick through. And then I'll need to kind of hold it in place and kind of see if any of our holes actually line up with where our fans will screw into place. And that's what's going to hold it together. We're just going to screw the fans in through this metal frame, and it's going to hold the fans and radiator in place. No gluing or anything required. So I'll mark that off real quick, and then I'm going to mark off in the back here where we need to do the same thing. Cut out a little rectangle just so that these barbs can fit right through. And that's pretty much it. Then we can keep moving. I'm not going to worry about cutting out the top part of the shell for the radiator till the end, just like I did on the Eyeball 360. So, yeah, let's go ahead and mark that, and then I'm just going to cut out those little sections and see if I can find the screws I need to install the fans to the radiator. And that'll be pretty much the end there. So, I don't know if I showed this in the other clips. I hadn't rewatched them yet, but basically here we have a 4-pin fan connector turned into a regular 4-pin Molex, which is perfect. Then we can plug in our temperature display into that. And I have a little splitter that'll go from this into a 3-pin that we can connect all the fans to. All the fans will just be connected to 5 volts. These little UV 40 by 20 millimeter fans that I have and that I have been using in a lot of builds. They're a bit noisy at 12 volts, especially if I have 3 of them. It's going to be pretty darn loud, and I don't think that's necessary. So we're just going to hook those to 5 volts. They move plenty of air at 5 volts. I'm not worried about it. And then I have the other slim 80 millimeter black fan where I got a 2-pack, and the one was used on the inside of the budget Xbox One S. So I have the second one I'll be using for this. It's black. It's going to match our theme, black everything. Until this system is turned on. Once it's turned on, then it'll have UV and colored fluid and all kinds of cool stuff going on. So that'll be fun. But that fan was connected to 12 volts, and it's pretty much silent. So awesome. We're going to have the intake one at 12, and then we've got 3 exit fans at 5 volts. Should be plenty of airflow. So that's our plan. We'll pick up the next video, hopefully with our radiator installed, and then we'll start cutting out our hard drive to fit our reservoir. And I'm trying to get this done. I'm not going to rush through this one, but I do want to get this one done because I'm expecting the PlayStation 4 to show up soon. And I'm kind of debating picking up an original Xbox, maybe even 2 of them, from our local kind of flea market building that we have where people can open up a little booth and sell stuff. They have 2 original Xboxes for a pretty good price. And yeah, it looks like those sell for pretty good when you paint them up, put some lights and windows and modify them, put big hard drives, stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in that, maybe I'll run and pick one of those up, maybe both of them. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.